Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and a season-long debate over who is McLaren backing up for the title. Many say the only reason why Norris beat Piastri is because of the favoritism Zak Brown has for him. Today on the Racing Chronicle, we'll go through each contentious Papaya Rules moment on track and see if McLaren truly favor Norris over Piastri. First and foremost, we all gotta be on the same page, because I know some people have overestimated what the Papaya Rules actually are. In reality, they're nothing more than a don't crash into your teammate. Zak Brown said it himself after the Italian Grand Prix in 2024, where Piastri overtook Norris. Papaya Rules are, you know, it's your teammate, race him hard, race him clean, don't touch. And after the 2025 Italian Grand Prix, Lando Norris said it wasn't even a page long, and that's after a bit more substance was added to them, since they were now fighting amongst themselves for the championship. Now we'll go to each Grand Prix and keep the score on who McLaren favor, or if they just took a logical decision. For the Australian Grand Prix, everyone started on intermediate tyres. Conditions weren't exactly ideal to have wheel-to-wheel battles, and plenty of drivers ended up on the wall. Hadja did it even before the race started. Verstappen overtook Piastri right at the start. After being behind him for 17 laps, the Australian finally took back second place thanks to Verstappen going wide. So, even though Piastri was faster, he simply couldn't overtake. Eventually, Piastri caught up to Norris, and they were really close to each other around laps 29 and 30. That's when McLaren gave the order to hold position. I mean, I'm faster, but okay, is what Piastri said. One thing is getting right behind someone, another completely different and much harder is overtaking him. Since Piastri couldn't pass Verstappen, I'd say there was little chance of him managing to take the lead from Norris. Even if that's the case, at that point in time, telling them they were not allowed to fight didn't really sit right with me. Going on the radio and saying to your drivers to hold position makes things much easier for Norris, who now doesn't feel the same pressure, and the chance of making a mistake like Verstappen did is much lower. McLaren was undoubtedly intervening in what happened on track. I have to say the decision makes sense team-wise due to track circumstances and the amount of people going off, including veterans like Fernando Alonso, who caused the safety car later on. But that's not really what I want to see. The radio message clearly gave an advantage to Norris, just barely, but still I've got to count it in as a McLaren intervening to favor Norris. For the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, there were no team orders. Norris got lucky with the timing of the safety car, had better tyres, and overtook Piastri, with a great move around the outside if I may add. Norris did go on the radio and ask them to tell Piastri not to make it too hard, but they didn't do it, and he still had to work to make the move stick. Nothing to really complain about here. What happened in Canada is the reflection of the fact there were no team orders applied that day. On the men's straight, Norris collided against the back of Piastri and he ended up retiring. No team orders involved, just an overly eager Norris failing to overtake and ending with 0 points as a result. We do have something to talk about in the Austrian Grand Prix. The McLaren drivers came out of the first lap as first and second. In lap 11, they even had some beautiful wheel-to-wheel moments, which the team said nothing about. They let them race, they let Piastri have a go at Norris for first place, but the Australian couldn't make the move stick and stayed in second position. On lap 20, Piastri had another go at Norris at turn 4, and he almost pit maneuvers him, possibly ending both their races. Still, Tom Stallard, his race engineer, only told him, feedback from the pit wall, the maneuver in turn 4 with the front lockup was too marginal. We can't do that again. At no other point during the race did he have the chance to try and overtake again. After the race, even Piastri admitted trying something like that wouldn't be wise. Even if I hadn't been told anything, I didn't think it was a wise decision to try that one again. So yeah, a fair comment and nothing more than that. Not really a team order here, just a comment, and a sensible one by McLaren, seeing how Piastri was driving. If you enjoyed the video so far, leave a like and subscribe, it will really help me. And tell me down in the comments in which incidents you agree or disagree with me. The British Grand Prix was a crazy race, one of the best this past season. I mean, Hülkenberg got a podium for crying out loud. and everything was decided thanks to the 10-second penalty on Piastri, which I think was fair. He braked too much and Verstappen almost rear-ends him. Norris clearly wasn't the fastest driver that day, but he kept it clean, and that 10-second penalty allowed him to overtake Piastri when he served on his top, taking the 5th position he maintained till the end. Oscar Piastri went on the radio to see if the team would make Norris hand the position back to him. But the penalty was fair, and McLaren doing that would have been ridiculous, to be honest. So McLaren gets another sensible decision on the scoreboard. The Hungarian Grand Prix is a pretty similar situation to what happened in Austria. On lap 69 out of 70, Piastri almost pit maneuvers Norris again on turn 1. McLaren only said to him, "Remember how we go racing? Same reminder, Oscar." It's true that Oscar only found himself behind Lando due to McLaren's strategy, but I think Norris has more merit than anything else, making his tires last with a decent pace for that long. And McLaren was trying to give him the better strategy to beat Leclerc, which then allowed Norris to use the best strategy to beat Oscar. But then again, Norris' strategy only worked due to the amazing drive he pulled off. So I'm saying this was nothing more than a sensible McLaren comment on the radio and a great drive from Lando. We all remember what happened at the Italian Grand Prix. McLaren pitted Piastri to cover Leclerc and then pitted Norris, and it was a 5.9 second stop, which allowed Piastri to undercut his own teammate. I really don't have too much to say about this one. I just completely disagree with what McLaren did. Luck is part of Formula 1, part of motorsports, and part of sports in general. Even if it was fair, it's a decision which hinders Oscar's race for no fault of his own. Just because he had a slow stop, is what Verstappen said while laughing. And I couldn't agree more. Your driver was unlucky, you should keep practicing your pit stops instead of switching the cars around. This last one is clearly just McLaren doing the opposite of favoring one of the drivers. It's them showing the lack of good decision making that almost cost them the championship. And in this case, Oscar was nothing but a victim of the underwhelming strategy. And so was Norris, to be fair. Staying out after the safety car on lap 7 wasn't the right choice that day. So not favoring Norris, no Papaya Rules, or trying to hinder Oscar's championship chances on purpose, since Oscar, being first, would have been more comfortable for Lando in the final race. We all know, for Norris, the scariest and most dangerous driver between Piastri and Verstappen was always going to be the Dutch. And I mean, this was McLaren making a choice, so I cannot put it under the logical decisions. So I'll create a new category, a nothing category, to better position the times where McLaren either did nothing or just took a decision that made absolutely no sense and just hindered both of the races. So the final score is Norris was favored 2 times, Piastri was favored 0 times, a logical decision was taken a total amount of 3 times, and did nothing or were better off doing nothing a total amount of 3 times. So I'd say McLaren made the right choice more often than not, or at least not a choice that actually benefited Norris over Piastri. They let them race, and the reason Piastri was basically out of contention for the championship in the last round wasn't because of McLaren making decisions against him. It was due to his horrendous last 9 races, where his only F1 World Champion level race was Catalan, and luck, or McLaren's strategy, wasn't on his side on that one. I'll leave it with a few quotes from Piastri after Abu Dhabi. Sometimes that's been uncomfortable for everyone, but ultimately it's been a good thing. We've obviously had a lot of discussion throughout the year, and I'm sure we'll have discussion in the off-season about anything we want to do slightly different for next year. At the end of the day, they gave us both as good a chance as the team could have to fairly fight for a world championship, and that's all you can ask for.
It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday then, Saturday, Sunday, what? Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you all for watching the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. You can also follow me on my social media. Until next time.